Well, welcome back to RamZland. I'm so glad that you're able to join us for today's math lesson. Today's lesson reviews how to find the surface area of a cone. And we know that the base of a cone, of course, is a circle. And we know the area of a circle is pi r squared. Now, when I think of a cone, of course, I think of an ice cream cone. But I want to find out the surface area of that cone, of course, minus the ice cream. But when you think about a cone, you have to remember that there's the lateral surface of a cone. That's the slanted height of the cone. And so when we think about the formula for finding the surface area of a cone, of course, you have pi r squared, and that's the base of the cone. And then you have pi times the radius times L. L is the lateral height. That's 3, the slanted, I'm going to think slanted height, if you will, okay? So want to use this formula and see if we can figure out really quickly how to solve some of these. And in this first example, of course, you have the radius of 1. So this is a really easy example. So you'd have pi times the radius squared, which is simply 1 times 1 is 1 times pi is 3.14. And so they just write that here. They just write pi. Or you could put 1 pi. And then you have this formula plus pi times the radius times the slanted height of the cone. So that would just be 3 times 1, of course, is 3, times pi again. So the reason there's a 4 here is because when they write pi, that's really 1 pi. So 1 plus 3 is 4 pi, and then all they're doing is just 4 times 3.14 to give you a total surface area of 12.6 square meters. Let's look at a few more examples and find the surface area of 1 and 2 together. So if you have a calculator, that would make it much easier to do this. Of course, I'll beam a calculator in this demonstration, but if you have some paper and a calculator, that'll make this a lot easier. So step 1 is pi r squared, and that's the area of the base. So we would have 2 squared times pi. That's step 1. Step 2 is to add that to the lateral surface. That's the slanted part of the cone. And that's going to be the radius times the slanted height. That's times 6 times pi. So I know 2 times 6 is 12. So now I simply have 4 pi plus 12 pi. Now, if you notice, these are like terms. They're both being multiplied times pi. So now you can add them. 4 plus 12 is 16 pi. So on my calculator, I'm just going to take 16 times 3.14. Let's find out what that is. 16 times 3.14 is going to equal a surface area of 50.24 square feet. And that's all there is to it. Let's try another one. So over here, I have a base of the cone, which has a radius of 4. So again, the base is just the area of a circle. This is just pi r squared. So that means pi times 4 squared. And I know 4 times 4 is 16. So that's pi times 16. Then the lateral surface, that's the slanted height, is pi times the radius times the slanted height. And I'm going to call that slanted height, I'm going to call that L, okay? Because it's not really the height, it's the slanted height, which is a little bit different. So I'm going to call that L, all right? So the radius is 4, so this would be pi times 4 times 8. And I know 4 times 8 is 32, so this is pi times 32. These are like terms, so I'm just going to add them. So 16 plus 32 is 48 times pi. This is where I would use my calculator. So I'm going to go back to my calculator and find out what that is. 48 times 3.14. That equals the surface area of 150.72. 150.72 square centimeters is my surface area of this cone right here. So just a couple steps to solve that. Let's look at a few more examples together. I'm looking at number 4 here, and it says to round my answer to the nearest tenth, okay? So I have my first step is the area of the base, which is pi r squared. I remember the radius is from the center of a circle to its outer edge. It's halfway across a circle. So I have 3.14 times 3 squared, which is 3.14 times 9. And that's the base there, okay? And then the lateral surface is pi times the radius times the slanted height. And again, I'm going to show that with that L there. So the slanted height is 6, and the radius is 3. So 3 times 6 is 18. So this is pi times 18. Now I'm just going to add these two. I have 9 pi plus 18 pi simply equals 27 pi. So I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to find out what that equals. 27 times 3.14, and that equals 84.78. But if I round this to the nearest tenth, that 8 in the 100th place is higher than 5, so I'm going to round this up to 84.8. 84.8 square inches will be my surface area for number 4. Let's try number 5 together. So step 1 is the area of the base, which is a circle. That's pi r squared, or 4 times 4 is 16 times pi. And I'm going to add that to my lateral surface, which is pi times the radius times the lateral height. So that's 4 times 5 is 20. That's pi times 20. So I'm just going to add these. 16 pi plus 20 pi equals 36 times pi. Let's find out what 36 pi is. 36 times 3.14 equals 113.04. If I round this to the nearest tenth, I'm going to leave that as a 0 because 4 in the 100th place is less than 5. So I'm just going to round this to 113 square meters for the surface area of number 5. Number 6 has a radius of 5, and so for my formula, I would have pi r squared, which is the same as 5 times 5 is 25, that equals 25 pi. For my lateral surface, I have 9 millimeters times 5 millimeters for the radius times pi. So I know 9 times 5 is 45. So this is going to equal 45 times pi. Now I'm just going to add these two together. So I have 45 pi plus 25 pi equals 70 pi. And then on my calculator, I simply multiply 70 times 3.14, and I have 219.8. 219.8 square millimeters. And that would be our surface area for number 6 right here. Number 7 has a radius of 7. So for my base, it's pi r squared, or 3.14 times 7 times 7. 3.14 times 7 times 7. Or I could simplify that as 49 pi. For my lateral surface, I have a lateral height of 10. I'm going to multiply that by the radius of 7. The formula for that is pi times the radius times the lateral height. And that's going to be 70 pi. And my total surface area just involves me adding those two. So I have 70 pi plus 49 pi will equal 119 pi. And I simplify that by simply multiplying 3.14 times 119 for a surface area of 373.66. And 6 is in the 100th place. I'm going to round that 10th place up to 7. We'll round this to 373.7. 373.7 square feet. And that's the surface area of number 7. Let's try number 8 together. So first, find the area of the base, pi r squared, or 5 times 5 times pi. I know that's 25 pi. That's step 1. Now let's find the area of that lateral side, the curved part of the cone. That's pi times the radius times the lateral height. So I would have 5 times 11 is 55 pi. My last step is just to add 25 and 55 together. So I know 25 plus 55 will equal 80 pi. When I put these together, they come together to equal 80. And I simplify that by simply multiplying 80 times 3.14 for a surface area of 251.2. 251.2, and this is square centimeters. Okay. Number 9 has what looks like a diameter, and that's not what we want in our formula. We want the radius. So remember, the radius is half the diameter. So if it says the diameter is 8, we want a radius of 4.
4.
Yeah, so the base would be a circle. That's pi r squared, or pi times 4 times 4, which is 16 pi. The lateral height isn't 8 times 12, it's 4 times 12. That's pi times the radius times the lateral height. So I know 4 times 12 is 48, so that's 48 pi. Now I'm just going to add these two. 48 plus 16, 48 pi plus 16 pi is going to equal, let's see, 64 pi. And I'm going to figure out what that is on my calculator. So 64 times 3.14 is going to be a surface area of 200.96. Round that up to 201. 201 square yards for number 9. Let's take a look at more examples. I like these because there's plenty of space to write on your paper. It says the radius is 3 centimeters. It says the perpendicular height is 4 centimeters. And it says the slanted height is 5 centimeters. Be careful of what to use when you find the surface area of a cone. You don't want to use the height. You want to use the slanted height. So I'm not going to use 4 at all in my equation. First, I'm going to find the area of the base. That's pi times the radius squared. So I'm going to have pi times 3 times 3, which equals 9 pi. For the slanted height, I'm going to use that to find the lateral area of the cone, which is pi times the radius times the slanted height, or 5 times 3. Pi times 5 times 3, or simply 15 pi. So I'm going to add, these are like terms because they're both being multiplied by pi. 15 pi plus 9 pi is going to equal 24 pi. Then I simply go to my calculator and I simplify that by 24 times 3.14 for a surface area of 75.36. 75.36 square centimeters would be my answer for number 1. Plenty of space to write there. Okay, let's look at this one. The cone has a radius of 4 centimeters and a slanted height of 7 centimeters. We want the slanted height. So for my base, I'm going to do pi r squared, or pi times 4 times 4, which equals 16 pi. And then for my slanted surface area, I have pi times the radius times the slanted height, which is going to be 7 times 4 is 28 pi. Now I'm just going to simply add these two. 28 pi plus 16 pi is going to equal like 40, 30, 44. 44 pi. Okay, so I want to simplify that by taking 3.14 times 44 for a surface area of 138.16 square centimeters. Let's try another. Here's number 3. So the radius is, the height is 4. The slanted height is 35. That's what you want to use. Don't use height. That's not part of your formula. So my area of the base is 5 r squared, or 5 times 21 times 21. Okay? So on my calculator, I'm going to figure out what that is. 21 times 21. That equals 441. So this is pi times 441. And then I want to find my slanted surface area, and that's pi times the radius, that's 21, times the slanted height, which is 35. Let's find out what that is. 21 times 35. That equals 735. 735 times pi. My last step is I'm just going to add these two. So I have 735 pi plus 441. Let's find out what that is. 441 is 1176. So that's 1176 pi. And now I just want to simplify this by multiplying it times 3.14 for my surface area, which is going to be 3,692.64. 3692.64 square centimeters. That's your answer for number 3. Let's take a look at another one. This one says the diameter is 12. I don't want the diameter. I want the radius. Remember, that's half of the diameter radius. So if the diameter is 12, my radius is 6. Okay? I don't want the perpendicular height. You don't want this. You want the slanted height. Okay? So what I'm going to do is find the area of the base first. So I have pi times radius squared, or 3.14 times 6 times 6, not 12. So this is going to be 36 pi. For my lateral height, I simply have 10 times the radius is 6 times pi, and that's going to equal 60 pi. My last step is to add those. So I'm going to add 60 pi plus 36 pi is going to equal 96 pi. And to figure out that, I'm just going to take 96 times 3.14. That's going to equal 301.44. Let's say 301.44 square centimeters. And that's your answer for number 4. Let's see what number 5 says. So it says the radius and the slant height is 18. That's all you need to find the surface area of the cone. So for my base, I have pi r squared. That's 10 times 10 is 100 pi. And then my lateral surface area is simply pi times radius times the slant. So that's 3.14 times 10 times 18, or 180 pi. And my last step is just to add those. So I'm going to have 180 pi plus 100 pi is equal 280 pi. And let's find out what that equals on our calculator. 3.14 equal 879.2. And this is square centimeters. Let's look at number 6. So the radius is 5. The perpendicular height is 12. Do I want the perpendicular height? No, I don't want 12. I want the slanted height. I want 13. So first things first, is pi r squared base. That's going to equal 25 pi. And then for my lateral surface area, I'm going to have 5 times 13 times 5. I know 5 times 13 is 65.
Hey, hi, Miss Ashley. Sorry, I'm in the class. Sorry.
Plus
So that's why I've been like super busy. Stop out here. I'll come back next week to visit you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
the 65 plus 25 is equal to 5. And I simplify that by taking 90 times 3.14. That's going to equal a surface area of 282 square centimeters. Okay, let's take a look at number 7 together. Now this one, I need to find out what the slanted height is. I don't have that. Let's look at another example. Sometimes you have I'm going to stop our share for just a minute here. And just, if you don't have your microphone muted, the rest of the class here is half back. So for some of you, I think I'm going to help you by just muting your microphone at this point. It looks like everyone else is on mute. Otherwise, it can be kind of embarrassing to hear everything in the background. Okay?
Okay. Okay, teacher.
That might help you a bit. Otherwise, you hear everything else that's going on. You may not want people to hear everything that's going on in your house. Okay?
Yeah, teacher.
Okay, so we're looking at this example here. And sometimes you have a decimal in these. So again, I want to find out the area of the circle first. So that's pi r squared, or pi times 3.2 times 3.2. Let's solve that really quick. 3.2 times 3.2 is just 10.24. So that's 10.24 pi. That's the first step. Then you want to find the area of the lateral surface. So I have 6.5. I want that. I'm going to have 6.5 times the radius, 3.2 times pi. So let's figure out what that is. 6.5 times 3.2. And that's going to equal 20.8. 20.8 pi. Last thing you're going to do is just add those. So I have 20.8 pi plus 10.24 pi. Okay, 10.24 plus 10.24. That's going to equal 31.04. 31.04 pi. The last thing you do is just multiply that by 3.14, which is times 3.14. And that's going to equal 97.0.4656. I would round this to the nearest 10th place. I would just round this to 0.5, 97.5 square meters. That first one there. Let's look at another one that has a decimal because these are a little bit more challenging. So first of all, my base has a radius of 4.7, so that's pi times 4.7 times 4.7, okay, or pi r squared. So let's find out what that is first. 4.7 times 4.7 is going to be 22.09. 22.09 pi. And I want to find out the area of my lateral surface, and that's pi times the radius times the slanted height. So I have pi times 4.7 times 10.4. Let's find out what that is. 4.7 times 10.4 is 48.88. 48.88 pi. So now I'm just going to add those. 48.88 pi plus 22.09 pi. 22.09, I'm going to add that. 22.09. And that's 70.97. 70.97 pi. So I just multiply that by 3.14. Let's try that. Times 3.14. That's going to equal 222.84. Now, since that 4 is less than 5 in the 100th place, I would just leave that. I would round it to the nearest 10th by just leaving that as 0.8. Let's write 222.8. And we would say this is square feet for the surface area of number 2. Okay, take just a minute and try number 3 all by yourself. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll come back in about 2 minutes and do it with you, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, hopefully you had a calculator to work that out. I know I'm going to need a calculator. So for the base of the cone, it's going to be 4.6 times 4.6 times pi. Let's solve that first. So 4.6 squared is 21.16. 21.16 pi. Then I want to find the area of the lateral surface. That's going to be pi times 11 times the radius, 4.6. Let's figure out what that is. So I have 11 times 4.6, looks like 50.6. Then I'm going to simplify that by simply adding these two numbers, 50.6 pi and 21.16. Let's write that down. 21.16 pi plus 50.6 pi. Let's find out what that is.
232.
Plus 21.16. Looks like 71, what was that? 71.76 pi. My last step is just to multiply that by 3.14. So times 3.14 should equal 225.3264. Let's just round that to the nearest tenth. Let's say 0.3, 225.3. And this is square meters. Okay, so we've done a lot of examples together, and we'll post this on our YouTube channel. And I'm hoping that when you review this, the thing that you remember are the formulas for certain area of these different shapes. We've done volume of a cylinder, we've done volume of a cone, of course we've done volume of a sphere in the last few weeks. But you really have to review these, or you. It's kind of like if you don't use it, you lose it. So again, I'll post this on our YouTube channel. If you haven't found that, just type Mr. Ramsey Math or Keith Ramsey, and you'll see, you know, images of us doing math together. It's very easy to find, and then you can review this whenever you want to. A few closing remarks that I have for you. I hope you guys are safe. I hope you haven't been going downtown in Indianapolis during these riots. Our governor today that if you're driving anywhere in Marion County after 8 o'clock, it's a misdemeanor and $1,000 fine. So that's not downtown. Just don't go anywhere after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they're very
teacher.
serious about enforcing with you, and they're actually fining people up to $1,000 if you're driving at all after 8 p.m. So I just want you to be safe, and just remember that I care very much about you, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you. We're
Thank
going to
you.
have class again on Wednesday. I'm so glad that you were able to join us for today's class, and I'm glad that that new link worked out for this. I know I missed some of you last week. I think it's just because it was a new link, and there's kinks to work out. So I will see you again on Wednesday, okay?
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
teacher.
teacher.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.